Listen up, presented by Dempsey's and Sportsland. Ryan, I think that it's safe to say the way this tournament has gone so far this year, any head coach would love to come out in the second half straight out of the gates with a 16-0 run. And that's just what they did. Elite. They do look elite. We're back with another episode recapping the fresh final score of the UConn Huskies women's basketball team, Ryan, as they defeat the Indiana Hoosiers. And Indiana's season is over. That's it. Capped off. That's what happens this time of the year. I'm sorry to break it to you, Ryan, but that's what happens. Teams go home. They pack their locker room and go home. But the UConn Huskies are not done yet, Ryan. 75-58. It looked like a pretty close game coming out there in the beginning. Let me just mention to you before you start and get into it, how impressed I am so very often. Again, only a freshman, but AZ Fudd, the ability to control the ball and come away with clutch, especially three-point shots, and her ability to shoot the ball under pressure. That's what really, I think, started the key moments for UConn, because they were it came out sluggish, a little bit sluggish. Turning the ball over a little bit in the beginning. But again, I think it was AZ Fudd that gave him that boost. And of course, obviously the 16-0 run to start the second half. Halftime. I told you halftime and some lovely things can get done at halftime.
Yeah, it was a pretty close game through those first two quarters, it seemed like. And then UConn, of course, pulled away there in the third quarter. But Indiana, you have to give them credit. Very experienced team, a lot of seniors on that team. Of course, Ali Patberg played 7 years. Sad to see her go. She had an amazing career. She had to fight through a lot of injuries, or a couple injuries, and she had her ups and downs. But that's a very, very good Indiana team that UConn beat today. And they hung around for most of the game. But UConn advances to their 16th straight Elite Eight. Unbelievable from UConn. But to me, I think UConn won this game through one was their defense, creating turnovers. Indiana had a lot of turnovers, and UConn was able to get pretty easy, wide open looks off of most of those turnovers. And the second thing for me is the UConn post players, Aaliyah Edwards, Olivia Nelson-Ododa, had great, phenomenal games. And I saw a couple people in the comments on our last video. They were a little worried about UConn's post players, saying they could play a little better. They haven't really showed up that much as the guards throughout this whole tournament. But let me tell you, they showed up today for UConn. Aaliyah Edwards, 9 points, 10 rebounds. Olivia Nelson-Ododa, 10 points, 14 rebounds. So, and the offensive rebounds that UConn got, a lot of second chance points for the UConn offense today. So it was great to see the post players for UConn getting it done under the glass today.
Do you think just maybe a little bit of spark underneath of their a little bit of maybe a little bit angry coming into this ball game, little spark, if you will, under their skin from that last game against UCF? Because yeah, it was a win, but hey, anything to do with that last game? I'm sure maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think it might have been UCF. Definitely gave them a little bit of a wake up call, and it kind of told UConn, hey, you got to play really hard in March Madness. UConn's obviously a really good team, but they definitely stepped up today and played a lot better, in my opinion, than they did against UCF.
We went over the coaching staff, how big they were, and we received a lot of comments on our previous episodes, Ryan, about the coaching staff. I don't, it may be 50-50. The players adjusted some things at half, and then the coaches. But I really think it might have a lot to do with Gino and the talk that he may have gave them at halftime. I mean, how big is, to spark a 16-0? I wasn't expecting, because I was looking at part of the game on the TV, part of the game on my phone as I was doing different things. And I'm like, man, hold on. I'm like, am I looking at it right? Because it just uploaded after halftime, and all of a sudden it's like UConn has jumped up. They were only, I think Indiana was trailing. What was it? It was like 4 at halftime, and all of a sudden they're trailing like 10 to 13 points. I'm like, wait, it's just something doesn't look right here.
Yeah, and that's something that UConn's done throughout this whole entire season, is going on runs. They had that massive run I believe I forget which team it was, but it was one of their teams in their conference. They went on like a 30-0 run or something insane like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, basketball, especially college basketball, is a game of runs. We say that all the time. And it seems like whatever team gets on a run, they're really, really hard to stop. So especially when UConn's getting those steals and blocks, getting second chance points on the glass, that makes them really, really hard to stop for any team. And just the pace that they're able to play at the whole entire game, Indiana couldn't quite keep up, especially coming out of halftime.
And we talk about championship teams. The ability, this is what I was focused on when they won the conference, when we went on that night. I talked to you. I don't know if you remember about this too. And it reminded me about in this ball game. How do you face adversity when you're down? I mean, UConn did not, again, they didn't come out all that hot. But again, I think it's basketball is a game of runs. We went over that. And it's how hot you can get at the right time, right? And I think that this kind of game, if they can have performances like this down the stretch, now the magic number is 3, Ryan, just 3. Get the glass slipper ready if you don't have it ready. Dust it off. Yeah, I mean, this is really, you put up these kind of performances, and this will definitely, I'm convinced if they keep playing like this, yes, they will win the national title, even considering the teams that are left in it. I know Phil's changing his mind that quick, but again, if you continue, because it looks like a whole different ball team from what compared to UCF the other night. Again, I understand we're stingier defense against UCF, Ryan, but at the same time, it's now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, and again, I wouldn't really say this in the regular season, but I'm saying this because it's March Madness and you don't know what kind of team now are you going to get these last 3 games if they last 3 more.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but I think, I talked about it in our last check-in video before this game started. And I said, UConn needs a game. They need a good shooting game to really boost their confidence in a way because, they've been on this long winning streak. But I just think it's been tough on some of these players just switching out of the lineups and trying to get used to their role. And you mentioned that tough game against UCF kind of lit a little fire underneath them a little bit to kind of push them and get them going and get them ready for this game. And nobody on this roster has won a NCAA championship. So there's something there that should definitely light a fire under them, especially for the 3 seniors on this team. I'm sure they definitely want to get a championship under their belt. But yeah, I mean, UConn today, 47%. Indiana shot 48%, so both teams shot it pretty well. But I think one of the things also that UConn made them pull away in this game was their 3-point shooting. Only made 5 of them, but Indiana only made 3. So when UConn went on that run in the third quarter, Indiana wasn't really able to keep up because they can't really shoot the 3-point shot. Only shot 9 of them this game. So I think that's something that also hurt Indiana in this game.
A game of hot streaks, right? A game of runs. You just said it, you're right. Definitely 100%. I'm glad you mentioned the 3-point shot because I think that was the weakness. That was the biggest weakness of this Indiana team is, you really, I don't care how good of a team you are. You're going to fall under some kind of pressure if that opposing team starts to go on hot runs, whether that's 3-point shots or whether that's you can't make your shots, your ball's not falling in the hole, right? That's the ultimate goal. And the other team keeps making layups. You're going to fall under pressure. So that's why I'm saying now that this UConn team, if they can keep surviving under pressure because Indiana gave them pressure the first half, but they had the ability to blow it open in the third quarter. UConn did. I think that UConn really has a shot now. And this is what UConn fans have been waiting for. And that's what it's all about, Ryan. I mean, how many times, not that often do you get lucky enough to just go all the way and win a championship in any kind of sport, just blowing through teams. Not that often. No. So again, it's the teams that get pressured, get tested, but can you still come out on top?
Yeah, and UConn's definitely been tested this season with everything they've gone through. We've already
even off the court with how how sick they were, and then some of the players that came down with illness, and then of course the injuries, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year like any other for UConn, so they definitely went through the adversity to get them through March Madness, and that's what it looks like so far. But it's going to be a tough one versus NC State on Monday night at 7 Eastern. So that should be a really, really good game. I can't wait for that one. I know I said that would be their test, but UConn's been tested these last couple of games. It's been pretty tough on them, but they've been able to pull through. But NC State, really, really good team. They came back today against Notre Dame and got a 3-point win, I believe. So that's going to be a really tough game for UConn, but I think they can do it again. If they keep this up, if they keep their defense up and shoot around 45, 50%, crash the boards, get those rebounds, I think they can do it. And I think they can give NC State a game.
How about this one? Now let's not get everybody fired up. I know. Let me say this before I say it. Before I make my statement here, no disrespect to Paige Bueckers, but how about her scoring 15, Ryan? Is that a little sign? Could be heating up at the right time because there's only 3 left, possible 3 games left. But with that said, the article come out the other day on ESPN, and I read through it. I think I sent you the article too, and the writer made some good points. She was about, can UConn win without Paige Bueckers being 100%? Let's just say athletes go through different stages of their career, right? We can agree on that. Let's just say maybe Paige Bueckers is at 100%. Let's just say that we got lucky enough to see her, that was a good luck charm in her back pocket, right? Now, I'm not saying it's all luck. She is talented. She's full of skill. But what I'm saying is, Ryan, her junior and senior years, do you really start having to building this team up around her even more? Or will we see the Paige Bueckers that took over this team during her rookie season?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting question. I guess, only time will tell. But especially with AZ and Ducharme only being freshmen. Of course, we have Kristen Williams leaving us for next season, but of course, UConn always gets all these transfer players and really good players on their team, and I'm sure we'll go over that in the off season of the new players coming in next season. But I mean, it's really hard to say whether Paige Bueckers is 100% or not, because I believe it was in the second quarter of this game. I think she dove on the floor or maybe bumped knees with another player, but she came up holding that left knee again. She had to go to the bench and she got black tape around that left knee and was able to come back in. She still scored 15 points, shot 7 of 17. So she looks pretty good, but I think just being out all of that time, and like I said before, her just trying to find her role again, but like we mentioned before, she really doesn't need to be 100% or play 30 minutes a game and score 30 points a game for UConn to be able to win it. And that's what they've proven so far throughout this whole tournament.
Not this year. You're right on that. But again, during her junior, the next 2 years coming up, will they still be able, because you mentioned the seniors that are leaving, will they still be able to find their identity like they always have, a rich history, a rich program, right? And still find ways to win ball games because they are a team that's known to go on very big hot streaks, not only in games, but all season long. So yeah, with that said, Ryan, I mean, and they did, it's no secret. Gino brought Paige Bueckers in here to lead this program and win championships. So I think that just during her tenure in this program while at UConn, in my opinion, you got to at least win one. You got to at least win one. I mean, if not, there would be a lot of looking back. I'm not going to say anything else negative, but there will be a lot of looking back during her 4 years at UConn, unless she stays longer. There will be a lot of looking back. And if at least not one is brought back to the school.
Yeah, I would agree. And especially for these seniors as well on the team. I mean, this is the 4th year the UConn hasn't won a championship game. So we really look back on all throughout, Kristen Williams, Vina Westbrook and Olivia Nelson-Odota's career and say, how didn't we win one when we had such great talent?
Comments. Time for comment. Ryan's favorite part of the show. Jest. Here we go, Ryan. Jest says UConn will win over Indiana. It is their game against North Carolina State that will be challenging. If they win over North Carolina State, they will get the final trophy.
Well, he picked the game, right? UConn did beat Indiana, but yeah, I mean that's what I said too. I totally agree with that. It's going to be a really, really tough game against NC State. So we'll just have to see what happens. But I think I do agree with that. If they can get past NC State, I think they're going to have a pretty good chance to get to that championship game.
I saw where something during the game recap that I missed. Is it correct that because I was seeing maybe some criticism on the coaching staff for not giving Ducharme some more playing time, Ryan? Because the only reason I say that because I just saw her name in this next comment. Michael Lawson goes UConn 75, Indiana 57. Olivia Edwards Dorka, I believe, dominate Caroline, might be the X factor. But here's the deal: will Paige and Bueckers ISO each other? Will the coaches let them?
Yeah, I mean, in the UCF recap, I went over two comments. One was saying, AZ, she's not getting used as much as she should be, and she needs more playing time. And there was people saying that Ducharme could get more playing time as well. Yeah. But that's pretty impressive, him picking the score, because the game ended 75-58, so he was only 1 point off.
Hey, that's right. Michael Lawson. Look at that one. Yeah, you are right. I mean, I didn't even.
I don't know if you should play the lottery or that's pretty impressive, though.
We're going to contact Michael Lawson when the big one comes out, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. But I mean, I think for sure, definitely next year, Ducharme and AZ Fudd will get more playing time. Of course, AZ Fudd's starting now, but Ducharme got 4 points, 2 or 3 shooting. So. I mean, I think the players coming off the bench, not only Ducharme, but Nika Mule, Vina Westbrook, and Dorka Juhas are definitely all X factors. When the starters need rest, they come in and provide a boost for UConn.
And the last one, Ryan, before we get out here on this Saturday evening and look forward to the Elite Eight, we will go. Actually, I'll shout out to Stormy Weather. She goes UConn wins by 30. So pretty close there too, right, Ryan? And then we'll go over Perch Canopy one more time. He goes, guys, what I was trying to say about Indiana was that Indiana could beat UConn easily. There is a real chance that the Huskies lose by a startling margin to the Hoosiers. If UConn somehow beats this Indiana team, then North Carolina State is headed home, in my opinion. And UConn's going to Minneapolis. I told you all the UCF game would be a dangerous trap for UConn. He was right about that, Ryan. And sure enough, we were lucky to get out alive. Mark my words. Here we go, Ryan. Mark my words. If we can put Indiana away, we will walk right through North Carolina State.
Well, I hope they're right because, he's thinking that, they got past Indiana now. So he's thinking it's going to be pretty easy Monday night. I'm not so sure that it's just going to be a blow through game from UConn, or I don't think UConn's going to just, roll past NC State. They're a very, very good team. But, like I said, we'll have to see what happens. It should be really fun.
That's it, Ryan. The Elite Eight. And I told you there's 3 wins away. So the magic number is down to 3. And we will see you all for the next game recap. Hopefully, we keep saying it. Hopefully, another UConn win for Austin Anita. I'm Phil Becerra and Ryan Renner. Listen up, Maryland.